My number 5 is Critters.
Wow. Okay, so I got to give this away, right? I don't have Critters on my list, which is insane, right? Because Critters is something that I grew up with. But I have to tell you, like, I like the series Critters, but it's not any one individual movie. Does that make sense?
Yep, understandable.
Like, I can't separate one movie from the rest to make it into my top 10. If we were talking about the series, I could probably throw it in there. But there's so many different things that weren't just in the original, like in the third one, whenever they try to copy Freddy Krueger, and he, like, stops them. But, like, there are all these different things in the Critters series that wasn't in the first one, and it was like, it just didn't quite make my cut. But I love Critters. Don't get me wrong. I own it. I think it's great. It could have easily been on there, though. It was between that and Chopping Mall for my number 10. So I let Chopping Mall beat it out. But, you know, you ask me tomorrow, I might change my mind.
Yeah, like, I wasn't even sure if I could consider Critters until I saw the poll. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Critters is good shit. It's Gremlins, but more so, I mean, they're more vicious little bastards, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
I watched that movie a lot as a kid, too. All the fucking Critters movies. It was probably on the movie channel, Vic. We talked about that the other night.
It was. Yeah,
for us poor white folk, that's the movie channel we had. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie channel was like $5 a month or whatever, yeah.
Had to be. Okay, so then that puts me at number 5 now. And Vic, you know, this, you'll probably be like, damn, I'm surprised this is so low for you. But, I mean, if you think about what's above it, you'll understand. Aliens is my number 5. I kind of brought it up earlier. I think Aliens is a fucking awesome movie. It's more of an action movie than a horror movie, and that's the only thing that keeps it from being higher on my list. And I don't like it as much as the first one. I do like it more than 3 and 4 and probably Prometheus, Alien Covenant, but not as much as Alien. And it's good, and if you put Aliens in any other year, maybe it could have been number 1, just not against this field, because this field is ridiculous. But easily number 5, because I think it's easily higher than all of my ones below it, but it just couldn't quite beat out the ones above it, if that makes sense. So Aliens sits at number 5. 2 of us have Aliens so far. Blake, I know, is kind of struggling with a little bit of the criteria, so we'll see if he has it on his list. Blake, you're up at number 5, my good man.
All right. I didn't struggle too much. More so the struggle was just on Little Shop of Horrors and whether that was technically considered horror or like a spoof musical type.
Well, you know, we kind of let everything slip through the cracks here. So.
All righty. Well, with that said, let's go to, we're at number 5, right?
Yep.
Number 5 is one that I just saw recently, and I can't get over the guy. My wife told me, you got to see this guy. He's creepy. He will remind you basically of every cult leader, of every person like that you've read about and studied about, and people you've even written about, you know, stuff like that. You'll see it, and you'll see him, and you'll know. So I sat down to watch this movie, and I'll be damned if she wasn't right. Henry Cain. Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, The Old Man.
Yeah.
He that movie, and not to mention the fact that, you know, Steve Johnson and Screaming Mad George and so many other greats, you know, a friend of mine worked on that film, but the effects and just the story, that whole idea of a cult, you know, him leading these people supposedly to God and condemning them to death, you know, and it was crazy. So Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, not to mention the fact that the cast of these films was plagued by some really, really, really bad luck and tragedy, you know. So it was interesting to be able to see it. And my wife actually thinks that the second one is better than the first one in terms of horror factor.
Whoa.
You know?
Well, I have to say,
in terms of the horror factor and the effects and stuff, you know.
I'm not giving you shit at all. I will say this. This is one of the 3 movies that just missed out on my cut, and it's only because I haven't seen the second one enough recently. I do own it. I haven't watched it enough recently. But that motherfucker, that creepy old dude, is scary as hell.
Yes, he is.
He was as scary as anything in the first one, so I'll give you that. Even the clown that people were scared of. That fucking bastard is creepy as can be. So Poltergeist 2, good shit. It's sitting there with Critters right off my list. But again, on any given day, it could have slipped into the top 10, knocked off April Fool's Day or Chopping Mall, maybe even Class of Nukem High. But Class of Nukem High is not falling out of the list no matter what. So I'm just saying, Poltergeist 2, it's good shit, man. It's good to hear you have it on your list. I don't want it to be forgotten. I feel like it is a little bit, by people. That, the first one is so well regarded that people forget the sequels.
And I don't have Poltergeist 2, but it was on TV so much as a kid. I think I watched it so much I almost talked myself out of liking it at a certain point in my life because I watched it so many times. It's still a good movie though, but yeah, I probably watched it way more than the original.
It's funny, we talked about how this list wasn't top heavy, but I still feel like my 1 through 5 are. I guess that's not really top heavy because that's the first half, but my 1 through 5 are as good as almost any other number ones in any other year. You know what I mean? So
I have to agree with you. It was putting it together was hard because especially considering that there wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street film out this year, that we're talking about. There wasn't one in '86, so it was like
no Halloween.
Wow,
no Halloween for another 2 years.
Yeah, right. But I mean, we had a big supply of others, and that's what made it so much fun. So I'm enjoying this list. Actually, I think more than probably the last one, that we did. So.
Yeah. There's been a few years where it's like I'm just trying to struggle to get 10 together.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's just a bunch of good
1970.
movies.
All right, man. Well, I'll tell you what, Vic, why don't you come in with your number 4 now?
All right, we're down to the nitty-gritty, and I'm going to go with a movie that's already been named once, and I'm going with the Class of Nukem High.
Yeah. I figured you'd have it after you got excited that I had it.
Yeah. I love it. Man.
Dude, those trauma movies are gross. So I don't blame you.
No shit.
They're fucking nasty. They're nasty.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I mean, it carries over to this day with some of the shit we like. It was like torture porn before torture porn.
Yes. Exactly. Fucking good.
Before Hellraiser was even around. So, yeah. Because I always say Hellraiser's what started it. Nobody will admit to it, but that's the one for me that really started torture porn. Okay.
Yeah.
So, speaking of gross, Vic, I watched this movie again. And granted, this is another one that I saw a lot as a kid. But, it didn't register for me as a kid, but I remember being, at least somewhat disturbed by it. And I watched it again a few weeks ago, just because it was on Hulu or Tubi or something. I'm pretty sure it was Hulu. So I watched it. I rewatched it. I've seen the original a lot from the 60s or the 50s with Vincent Price. And this one stars Jeff Goldblum. We're talking about The Fly. That's my number 4. And The Fly by David Cronenberg is fucking gross. It is fucking gross. People were talking about, in one of the comments on our vote, that, they were in a classroom and they watched this in class and all these girls were throwing up in their classroom because The Fly is nasty. Yes. Dude, this movie, probably my favorite David Cronenberg movie. It's fucking amazing. And again, it gets the second highest score on IMDb out of all these movies. It got to the finals. It lost in the finals. But pretty damn impressive for The Fly. For a movie that's like sci-fi horror, it took what the original Fly did, and it fucking turned it on its head. Because the original Fly, I don't know if you people remember this, but the original Fly, there were 2 flies. There was the actual fly that was flying around with a human head, and there was the human with a fly head and a fly arm. And he had basically kind of reversed each other, and he killed himself, and then he was trying to he ended up killing himself. He wasn't going to kill himself, but he couldn't find the fly in time so he could try to fix the issue, so he had his wife kill him, And then at the end, they end up killing the fly, too, because it's stuck in a spider web going, help me! Help me! And that was a fucked up ending, too. Huh? What'd you say?
I just laughed.
Yeah. So anyway, The Fly, this newer one, obviously, it was gross. You know what? This is another movie I wouldn't mind seeing another remake of. I don't think I'd have a problem with that. The Fly would be okay to remake, you know? They could do it a different way for all I care.
Yep, exactly.
So that's my number 4. You know, Vic, that I like the sci-fi horror a lot. It doesn't mean that's my favorite subgenre, but I do love it. So The Fly takes its rightful place at number 4. But again, there are a couple other years that we had. It could have been number 1 or at least close to it. But I tell you what, that is a fucking nasty movie. Nasty. Yuck. All right, Blake, you're up at number 4, homie.
Well, my number 4 was probably one that I'm probably the only person who's going to have it on the list. Again, it just goes back to my love of serial killers, and you guys love serial killers as much as, you know, those films as much as I do, and the study. But this one was something about it, man. And it was, I saw it really young, probably 9 or 10 when I saw it, and it always stuck with me because there's a scene at the bottom of the house where you see the skull of somebody that was killed and the rotting flesh kind of sticking out with their eyes open, sort of looking at someone that's in the room. And I'm talking about Psycho 3. Fucking brutal movie. I mean, oh, it's one of my favorites.
You know, it occurs to me that's actually, I said there were 3 movies that didn't crack my top 10. Psycho 3 would be right in there with the 4th of the 3. It's actually the 4th. See, I really like Psycho 2 a lot, and I like Psycho 4 a lot, so Psycho 3 gets kind of forgotten, but it's good too. So no problem for me for putting Psycho 3 on the list. It was not in our tournament because it didn't have a high IMDb score. So, I mean, in its own way, Psycho 3 was just kind of a more of a mindless slasher than the other ones. But fuck, I love mindless slashers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we're just some good kills. At first you get to see Jeff Hay, you know, who went on to fame as playing Joe in the Lawnmower Man. You know, you get to see him in a role and you know, all that good stuff. And then, man, and it was directed by Anthony Perkins. You know, it showed his hand. He's just as talented behind the camera as he is in front of it. And I loved it. I just thought it was underrated. It was the lowest grossing in the series, but I never let that bother me or keep me from enjoying a film or even checking one out. I mean, it made $14.4 million at the box office. It's not too bad, you know, considering.
I used to have a Psycho 3 poster, like a full-size poster, which is strange, I know, but I did. But yeah, I like Psycho 3. It could easily crack this list. It's just one of those things where I was like, fuck it. I give Psycho 2 credit. I'm sure I'll give Psycho 4 credit. We'll get there when we get there. All right. Man, I tell you what, we're into the top 3. And I'm really curious where Vic has these ranked. I can guess 2 of his top 3. Nah, I think I know all of his top 3, but where he has them will be the interesting part. Vic, where you got at number 3?
All right, we're going to go with number 3, and it is actually a movie that I too was not sure it counted as a horror until I saw our polls. So I'm going Little Shop of Horrors as number 3.
I think I'm about to get upset with you, Vic.
Oh, you are.
You've left
I know why
something
you're
off
going
your list.
I don't like this. I had something on my list, and then I removed it for Mountaintop Motel Massacre. I apologize.
He's not sorry. He's not sorry, though. He's not sorry.
I'm sitting here silently
You know
raging.
what I left off.
I'm sitting here silently raging because Vic just left off Night of the Creeps from his list. That motherfucker.
You're right.
You got,
yes. And I feel the same.
This is Tom Atkins' greatest movie. It thrilled me. God damn it. It's even better than Halloween 3.
Shut up. Don't be stupid.
You dirty bastard. Night of the Creeps is
I told you
3.
I feel the same. I feel dirty. I apologize.
Oh my gosh! And they had all the horror references and everything, and